It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Friday's Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast with special guest Nate Vallier this morning. Boy, it might help if I get my tongue straightened out, huh? Anyway, Nate's going to be with us this morning. Of course, today's show is brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scootaround, and by chilliescruises. And first, a good morning to Santos, Hot Air Tom, Steve, Gary Older Than Dirt, Kenneth. Good morning to all you guys. All right, we've got several news stories today. Got a lot of ground to cover today. The lead story this morning, fog forces a 10-hour delay. Also today, the $42 cruise tax is clarified. Carnival Venezia to Port Canaveral. An outbreak on Rotterdam. A tender runs aground. Petition advances in Sitka, and Navantia to acquire Harland and Wolff. That and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today is National Sangria Day. Now, in my household, the sangria is not going to be done until Christmas Day. Amanda decided that one turkey a year is enough for her, so she's not doing a turkey for Christmas. Instead, she's making paella. I certainly don't mind the paella. I like that a lot. However, you got to have some sangria with paella. But still, today is National Sangria Day, so go have some sangria. This day in history, folks, in 1790, the first cotton mill, the first cotton mill began spinning yarn. Now, that in itself is not such a remarkable thing. But those of you that are in the audience, can you guess where that happened? Where was the first place in this country that a cotton mill began spinning yarn? So I'll let you guys guess on that, and I'll give you an answer here in a bit. And needless to say, it surprised me a lot. All right, if you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Pat Travel Guy. All right, cruise passengers going to Europe, going to the UK. They sent out a little update today. Cruise passengers must secure electronic travel authorization in 2025. The United Kingdom will be implementing a new regulation requiring all travelers who do not hold a passport to the United Kingdom or Ireland to obtain an electronic visa known as the UK Electronic Travel Authorization to enter the UK by air or sea. This will be required of all guests embarking and or disembarking from the UK, as well as ports of call to the destination. This requirement will take effect on January 8th. However, you must have it purchased before you land, before you disembark on your journey to the UK. So we're sailing on January 4th, going to London. We must have the authorization before they'll let us on the ship that's going to the UK. That's how it's working. It's easy to do. Just do it and get it out of the way. All right, now for non-European nationalities that do not already require a visa, on April the 2nd, you guys must do the same thing. Now, I was a little confused in thinking that there was going to be two, the first one and then a second one for the rest of Europe. It's not to go to the rest of Europe. It's for the rest of Europe that's going to the UK. So that got clarified a little bit. So anyway, if you're going to the UK or Ireland, you got to do this, folks. There's no getting around it. You could be kicked off of an airplane or a boat that's going to there. So, effective April 2nd, all travelers of European nationality who do not hold a United Kingdom or Ireland passport will also need to present the UK electronic travel authorization for entry by air or sea. So, that clarifies that and gets that out of the way. All right, let's see if anybody guessed the right place on the first thingy bopper. Roger said Massachusetts. That is very close, Roger. It's Rhode Island. So Roger was very close on that one. So I was really surprised. I would have thought it would have been in the South, where they grow cotton. But no, of course, yes, I know that the manufacturing end of it was in the North. So anyway, just thought that was a little interesting tidbit. All right. So before we get to the news today, we do have a special guest. I teased this a little bit on Wednesday.
All right, so here we got a special guest here again this morning. You know, with no further ado, here's my buddy Santa Nate. Ho, ho, ho. Happy, Merry, whatever it is. I'm sorry. Stand up and flex the abs. All right, there you go. Look at that. Nate has lost some weight. That is the bod. Nate the bod.
Who needs a six-pack when you can have my keg?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, very good. Okay. Now, I have been so confused over the last couple weeks with all the information going back and forth about the Norwegian app and problems with the new app and stealing money and this all kinds of crazy stuff, which makes no sense. So please bring me up to date on what's happening with Norwegian's app.
You know, Chillie, it's a sad day when someone is happier to be on MSC than they are on Norwegian. You know,
Yes.
It's why I'm in this festive gear. After being stuck on that ship for 13 days now, I will admit to your viewers, and some know me, that we haven't been on Norwegian in about 2 years. And as travel advisors, it's important we know what the product is currently like, how it updates and everything. And this is one thing that does make it hard for travel agents, is if you don't cruise a lot, you really don't know. And so when we got on the Encore, our expectations were up here. It's been 2 years, and granted, my last sailing was in Getaway in the Haven. But, you know, we never heard many reports back of I want to say negative or differences. And so it was a shell shock. So we had a lot of challenges on the ship. The issues with the app, it's a brand new Norwegian app that came out where we eventually found out that if you put anything in your app on your phone, normally after 15 minutes, it gets kicked out. You know, you lose it. A lot of times companies will send you a reminder, hey, come back, you left this in your shopping cart, save 10%, whatever. But what happened with one of my guests on board was she selected the thermal spa pass. Wasn't sure she was going to do it. just because with 1,100 solos on board and everyone on Facebook saying they're going to get it, it might not be the optimal experience when you get in there and there's no seats. There's nowhere to go. So she didn't buy it. As travel agents, we always check the reservations before, a week out, and then a couple days before, make sure everything's in line, no balance is due. And I would have spotted this had this happened. But what the app did was it made it a purchase. It didn't charge her card, but it added it to her account. So on day 2 on the ship, she looks at her onboard account and she owes $600. She's like, what is this for? I went down to guest services, as a travel agent. No one knew anything. It just said payment of passage on her account. Nobody knew anything. I asked for the hotel manager or the director. They put obstacles in my way. I never got to meet her. I just went through this layer of bureaucracy and literally spent 4 days trying to figure out what this charge was. Come to find out, it was for the thermal spa and prepaid service charges. And I looked in our travel agent system and boom, there it was. And we literally spent 5 days trying to get this fixed because it was a lot of back and forth between the spa, guest services, shoreside, and we even got an email from shoreside saying you have to handle it on the boat, and the boat said you have to handle it on shoreside. So it really was a challenge because my poor traveler didn't plan on having a $600 bill getting off Encore. Some of us expected, others didn't, but the person in question isn't an avid cruiser. She's been on Princess. She's actually been on a cruise with you. She's just, I feel bad. So eventually they blamed it on me. Oh, your travel agent did this. So easy to blame a travel agent. So then she put that in our WhatsApp and Facebook groups. Oh, Nate, they're blaming you now. So I immediately darted down to guest services and unfortunately turned into Karenzilla. Blaming you now. So I immediately darted down to guest services and unfortunately turned into Karenzilla. If there's some people who are watching this that were on the ship, they probably heard me screaming. Basically, you can't blame me for this. I'm right here. Don't ever blame a travel agent because it sounds easy. We eventually got it wiped out only by going to a VP at Norwegian. And after posting our issue in a travel agent Facebook group, we hear from other travel agents, oh my God, this is happening to my client. I just looked at all these reservations and Nate, oh my God, they all have these extra charges that we never had. So hopefully Norwegian is taking this seriously. And I tell people be vigilant, make sure that anytime, any cruise line, if you're not going to buy something, delete it, take it out of your app. It's just simple to clear it because glitches do happen. This caused a lot of heartache for both her and me. I already came in a little apprehensive to Norwegian, even though I'm platinum with them now. Just the differing product wasn't what I expected. A lot of the stuff that we were promised wasn't delivered. We even had a little over a day with no hot water on the ship, and that was insane. And no compensation for that one. Yet MSC had a small fire, and everybody got a massive cruise credit. So I think that coming out of this, Norwegian is going to be harder to work with in terms of being able to get things fixed. With Princess, Holland America, MSC, we have direct lines to people to say, hey, this is right. Can we get this done? Oh yeah, no problem. And I think that what's been happening with the cruise industry is they've been seeing what they can and can't get away with. They're slowly moving down lower. Like on Norwegian, in the middle of our cruise, it was weird, but we had 2 cleanings a day. We had morning and evening. And then on the 12th, suddenly it went down to 1. Come to find out, they've been rolling it out ship by ship. And it was okay. I'm not going to lie. It was nice being on Celebrity and coming back to my cabin after dinner. And, there's some chocolates on the pillow and, my sheets and everything pulled back. But, when you look at the hotel industry, they don't, they're not even doing daily cleaning. So I think that this just goes back to the changing changing our perception and what we expect from a cruise line. But Norwegian delivered. I mean, I hate to say this, even though we're fighting for compensation. Blaming you now, so I immediately darted down to guest services, and unfortunately turned into Karenzilla. If there's some people on, we're fighting for compensation. We had a cheap cruise from Southampton to Miami. Weather was okay. That's why I wore this long sleeve Santa outfit, thinking it's going to be cold the whole time. But we actually had some pleasant weather in Punta Delgada, and we had 3 good days at sea, then 3 crappy days. But other than that, I think that for a solo traveler, Norwegian still kind of has everyone beat because they have the solo cabins now that they're expanding into more ships.
Yeah, and yet you ended up with like over 1,000 solos on this cruise.
11. They said like 1,180 solos.
I would never even dream of having 1,100 solos on a cruise.
Oh, the first meeting. They put it in the Cavern Club, and they should have knew better. That thing was a lot of us left. Every meetup, don't get me wrong, it was great, but I missed the days of solo meetings of like 20 to 40 people.
Yeah, they're manageable.
Yeah,
they're enjoyable.
But again, to Norwegian's defense, they needed the ship to get to France for a dry dock. It required 5-year dry dock, and they tried to get too much done while they did there. Los Lobos is now Cagney's, but our app never changed, so we still had reservations for Los Lobos in our app. No notification. It was still on the maps of the ship, and even the email we got, people like, well, we got an email saying it was closed. Well, no, that was in September, but then in October it listed as open. Yeah. So I mean, I get there's glitches. We didn't have Spice H2O at all for our entire journey. We were supposed to. I think the bad weather the last 2 days or 3 days hampered that because they had to put in some tile and grout and everything. I have people on the ship right now, and they're sending me pictures, and it looks lovely. So
finally got it open.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to go tit for tat, but it's interesting that we went from 4 of us went straight from Encore to MSC Divina. And I don't let the negative reviews of MSC pull you down. They're just not there. I mean, I don't want to do tit for tat, but like on Norwegian, they only have one type of jam every day for your croissants and your breads and everything. Here, you've got like 8 spread of all these different jams and everything.
I've done 11 MSC cruises, and probably my least favorite, and this by no means is a negative comment, my least favorite was Divina, only because it's older than many of their ships. It's a little smaller than some of their ships, but still, I'd jump on Divina in a heartbeat again.
Yeah. Well, and to talk about solo travel on some of the groups, Sherry from Seattle, Washington, she even joked about it. She says, of all the cruises I've been on, my worst was MSC and my best was MSC. And, these guys are really trying. And I want to just let people know, I hate to use this term, but they're the new, we're fighting for compensation. We had a cheap cruise from Southampton to Miami. Weather was okay. That's why to use this term, but they're the new Carnival, the new Norwegian. MSC, their pricing, the way it is for Americans, is to fill up what they couldn't sell in Europe, in the Middle East. And that's why you have such a diverse group of people on board. Is the cruise lines have different price points, whether you're in Germany, France, UK, even Canada. And so with Americans, because they have now 6 ships here, it's easier for them to discount to get people on board, because once we're on board, we're captive. So they want us to spend money in the spa. They want to spend money, in Butcher's Cut, in Wi-Fi, and F1 racers, stuff like that. So I tell people, come in with an open mind. But again, every cruise line is different. Everyone has a unique identity, and I think MSC has been coming up better. In terms of sleep, I can tell you it's about the same as I had on Norwegian. in terms of the bedding, the pillows. My cabin's a little bit bigger than my Norwegian ship. And again, it's not being negative, but like I said this morning in the buffet, again, the difference in product clearly showed, because here they had 6 different types of jam, whereas on Norwegian we just had apple every day. In a little tiny packets. I said, hey, do you have any other things? And you could have went to the sorry, someone's trying to talk to me. Sorry,
You're talking about the jam.
Well, I mean, just stuff like that. The breads are freshly made on board. They're not reproduced. They're not store-bought. They have a gluten-free section. And the food is hit or miss with every cruise line. We had some dead meals on Norwegian where it's like, what is this? And we had some really great ones, too. And same thing with Celebrity and Princess. I've been on some Princess ships where it's like, I can't wait to get off this ship. Again, it all just depends on the attitude coming in. Like today, I'm happier because I know Divina better, and we've been selling MSC more, so I kind of knew what to expect. And we got sunny weather, so ho ho ho. I think that's important. Is for your Norwegian loyalist out there, it's good to just be vigilant, especially when there's new technology. And just like if bad stuff happens on MSC, Princess, or Celebrity, I kept telling myself, and I warn other people, if the business is changing, it's not going to be like it used to. Even when you fly, it's no longer Chateaubriand and pork roast and freshly carved meats in first class. And I think the cruise lines are doing the same thing. The cruise lines have been gradually stepping it down as people want lower prices and more options. They're all nickel and diming. People keep saying, "Oh, I don't like MSC." I'm like, "Oh," or even Royal Caribbean. Well, what are they doing different? And the recent news with MSC now doing a 15 drink minimum, changes to the drink package. To use this term, but they're the new Carnival, the new Norwegian. MSC, their pricing, the way it is for Americans, is to fill up what they couldn't sell in Europe, in the Middle East. And that's why you have such a diverse group of people on board. Is the cruise lines have different price points, whether you're in Germany, France, UK, even Canada. And so with Americans, because they have now 6 ships here, it's easier for them to discount to get people on board, because once we're on board, we're captive. So they want us to spend money in the spa. They want to spend money, in Butcher's Cut, in Wi-Fi, and F1 racers, stuff like that. So I tell people, come in with an open mind. But again, every cruise line is different. Everyone has a unique identity, and I think MSC has been coming up better. In terms of sleep, I can tell you it's about the same as I had on Norwegian. In terms of the bedding, the pillows, my cabin's a little bit bigger than my Norwegian ship. And again, it's not being negative, but like I said this morning in the buffet, again, the difference in product clearly showed, because here they had 6 different types of jam, whereas on Norwegian, changes to the drink package.
Hey, tell me something. Can you drink 15 drinks in a day?
I've tried.
I don't think I could.
And this is where I appreciate Princess. They have the technology medallion where you can see how many drinks you've had. And you really got to try to do 15. Now, I'm also not a guy from the Midwest drinking, pounding down the beers either. However, I can tell you on Princess, nobody cared about whose card they were swiping or whose medallion they're tapping for drinks either. So, until they clamp down on that, I think people are going to be okay to, if you run out, just have someone else buy you a drink. But I think on the last cruise I did with you on Sapphire, I don't think we ever even touched 15.
Oh, we never came close, Nate. Not even close. All right, so one carry-on question on this. At one time, MSC was my bargain line. Mm-hmm. I'd book other cruise lines and know I was going to pay more, and I come back to MSC to save a little money, and that was my thinking in there. MSC has kind of jumped the pricing up some. Mm-hmm. Do you see we may be heading back to MSC offering us some bargains again? or some specials again?
Well, they're all trying to get more money. The goal is extracting money from us, from you, from me, and seeing where that limit is. And they're learning, unfortunately, that people like you and me have a way to deliver last-minute deals and specials, which corrects their screw-ups. So if you overprice a cruise and you're now a month out and you find out, hey, I'm only 85% occupancy, I've got 600 rooms or 500 cabins we need to get rid of. Unfortunately, we do a good job of letting our clients and our viewers know.
Yeah.
And both Norwegian and MSC are fantastic at dumping these deals. And I think that it's going to bite them in the butt, to be honest. The higher the pricing goes, the more people are going to wait. I'll talk about Norwegian. They have I want to say it's the Sun, doing this back-to-back 15-day Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia cruises. Right. And that was a talk of the ship. And I'm like, that's not really a good deal because they had solo cabins, but they didn't have too many. The solo pricing was fair. $1,400 for an interior cabin on that ship isn't bad.
No.
But every other cabin, the regular cabin categories were still triple or double solo and everything else. And it wasn't, I felt bad.
It was
I felt like
overall a good price deal. Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, this is such a great deal." I'm like, no. I was like,
no.
I've been aqua class on Celebrity on the Solstice out of Sydney for half that price for a balcony. And I think this is where the travel agents come help because we know the pricing. And so I sadly talked to people out of booking back-to-backs on it, and it would have been about $6,000 a person in the end because they want a balcony, and balconies just are not going cheap. In fact, you mentioned with MSC, like this sailing I'm on now, they were selling balconies. This is a 5-day, 4-day Bahamas. I think it was going for $490 solo for balcony. But yet, if you booked a month out, it was changes to the drink package.
Tell me something. Can you drink 15 drinks in a day?
I tried.
I don't think I could.
And this is where, but yet if you booked a month out, it was. But yet if you booked a month out, it was. But yet if you booked a month. But yet if you booked a month out, it was. But yet if you booked a month out, it was. But yet if you booked a month out, it was.
Well, sorry about that, guys. The last segment there, and there was issues coming through the whole thing, so this thing taped really screwy. But that last segment, and I have to break it down to upload it to StreamYard into less than 5-minute segments, or 5-minute and 20-second segments. So that was some of the carryover, but that last segment is stuck. It won't play at all. So anyway, I apologize for that. Again, thanks to Nate for giving us some of his thoughts about Norwegian and MSC. So, all right, I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of our fine network sponsors. All right, so the first story today comes from some nasty weather. Following a lengthy delay that stretched into the early afternoon due to heavy fog, Carnival Paradise was finally able to enter Tampa Bay just after 2 o'clock on Thursday. The ship had originally been scheduled to return to Port Tampa Bay approximately 8 a.m., but was unable to enter the bay when heavy fog made visibility all but impossible. This complicates navigation up the bay, and the U.S. Coast Guard closed the channel until the fog cleared and marine traffic could safely resume. Instead, Carnival Paradise spent the morning and early afternoon just outside Tampa Bay, first circling in a holding pattern, and later just sitting and waiting for the fog to clear. Just after 2 p.m., the ship was able to begin her journey back toward the cruise terminal, which takes roughly 3 to 4 hours depending on the ship's exact position and other local traffic. By 6 p.m., Carnival Paradise was able to dock as planned, 10 hours later than originally scheduled. All passengers had to be checked in at the cruise terminal no later than 11 p.m. last night in preparation for departure. It's expected that the ship was to depart shortly after embarkation finished. While this is a much later departure than expected, the first day of the sailing is a day at sea. Carnival Paradise should arrive in Cozumel tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We'll see if she can make up that much time. Michelle Page, CEO of the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association, said the $42 non-resident fee from Mexico will be charged once per sailing, not at every Mexican port. The clarification was made in an interview with Sea Trade Cruise News. The FCCA, representing more than 20 cruise lines, noted that the Mexican government has not yet confirmed how the fee will be processed. The new tax is currently on a 6-month hold. Be on one of the first MSC ships to go to Alaska when we sail May 25th, 2026 on the MSC Poesia round trip from Seattle. 7 nights going to Ketchikan, Icy Strait Point, Juneau, and Tracy Arm Fjord, and a stop in Victoria, Canada on the way back to Seattle. Inside cabin start at $849 per person, balcony from $1289 per person. The MSC Poesia going to Alaska. Why not join us? I promise you we'll have a great time. Just call me, 434-258-9264, and we'll cruise with Chillie to Alaska. After offering Italian-style cruises out of New York for a year and a half, Carnival Venezia has been repositioned to Port Canaveral, Florida. The 4,200-passenger ship arrived on Wednesday and will be offering seasonal sailings out of the Florida cruise port through May of 2025. An outbreak of norovirus has cast a shadow over the holiday plans of passengers aboard Holland America's Rotterdam. During its current voyage, it began on December the 8th and won't conclude until December 20th. 83 passengers, 12 crew members, that's 5% of the vessel's capacity, have fallen ill to the highly contagious virus. There's no bad time to visit New Orleans, but the fall months are especially charming with seasonal celebrations and comfortable temperatures. If you're heading to the Big Easy, book a scooter or wheelchair rental and explore this historic city hassle-free. New Orleans mobility rentals are 10% off until the end of the year. That's right, folks. New Orleans rentals, 10% off until December 31st. 2024. Call Scoot Around toll free 888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137. That's New Orleans Mobility Rentals. On Wednesday, 30 guests on Crown Princess were taking an excursion to the natural wildlife destination off the coast of South Australia when a tender engine failure ran the boat into the sand. The fully clothed passengers were forced to don life jackets and wade through thigh-deep water and rough surf to reach the beach and connect to the Pinneshaw Ferry Terminal to meet the excursion. The Crown Princess tender was towed back to the 3,000-passenger ship by a Kangaroo Island Ocean Safari small vessel that was in the area. It's a good thing I wasn't on that tender in my chair. I would have been in real trouble. The fourth term turned out to be the charm for a group that has been trying to limit the impact of cruise tourism on Sitka, Alaska, after the city's municipal clerk certified an application that will enable a citizen's petition to move forward. The group, Small Town Soul, had failed in 3 previous attempts to place a petition before voters that would create an ordinance setting limits on cruise ship operations in the town. In the current petition, the group calls for capping debarkations, having 1 cruise ship free day each week, and requiring all ships to obtain disembarkation permits. The measure, which would take effect in 2026, also establishes financial penalties against cruise ships and cruise lines that do not adhere to regulations. Pelves, Harland, and Wolff shipyard has been saved by a deal with Spain-based Navantia shipbuilder. This was reported by BBC yesterday. According to the British website, the Spanish facility had been in exclusive negotiations since Harland and Wolff's holding company fell into administration in October. The deal is expected to save 1,000 jobs and includes the shipyard's facilities in Northern Ireland, Scotland, and England. An established player in the cruise dry dock business, Navantia operates various facilities in Spain, including a large repair yard in Cadiz. This is an update on the MSC Grandiosa cruise sailing from Port Canaveral on February 14, 2026, with stops in Nassau, Ocean Key Marine Reserve, and Puerto Plata. Inside cabins start at $643 per person. Solos start at $933. Just call me 434-258-9264 and join us on MSC Grandiosa. All right, one thing I want to point out before we get over to the chat room. I was talking to Nate last night about the World America. He is planning, I believe, on going on the World America out of Miami on May the 2nd, 2025. Our Cindy Lee is on it the week before. Unfortunately, I don't get back from Europe until the day after Cindy sails, and I'm going to be pressed to get down to sail with Nate the following week. However, it tentatively is scheduled that way, although when I went to book it, there aren't any accessible rooms available currently. So I'm on a wait list for that. But if you're interested, folks, brand new ship, the World America, or if you use the European pronunciation, America, will be sailing out of Miami starting in April. Like I say, Cindy's on it on April 26th. Nate will be on it on May the 2nd. And possibly I'll be on it on the 2nd also. Excuse me. Dry spot in the throat there. Okay, so that ends the news portion of today's show. So let's jump over and see who's in the chat room today. I spoke to Santos this morning. There's another X person, a couple X people. Atiriu, I believe is how you pronounce that. John's with us. Says, how are you doing? Hope you're fine. Thank you very much. Hot Air says, thank God it's Friday. Steve's with us out in Kentucky. Gary Older Than Dirt. Kenneth up in Pennsylvania says, good morning to everybody. There's Gretchen out in Ohio. Says, hi there. There's Cindy. Sangria. Love it. Yeah, I like those. I don't get away from bourbon very often, but I will, with the right meal, have a little sangria. There's Bob down in Tennessee. Morning, Bob. Have a great weekend. I hope so. Chillie, do you take that cup with you when you go on cruises for advertising? No, because it's too big for me to. I take as little as possible in suitcases, Kenneth, because
A new station alert has arrived.
I struggle getting suitcases and whatnot on cruises. So, no, I don't take the cup with me, but I use it all the time. I mean, literally, this is in use every day. So, and I tell you one thing I do like about it, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before. Man, it keeps stuff cold a long time. I guess it's how the interior of the cup's made, but it really does. Amy's with us. Good morning, Amy. And there was Roger with his guest of Massachusetts. Elizabeth Sophie's here, says hello. Cindy says there have always been problems with the NCL site. I'll learn never to put anything in cart and not purchase. If you do it prior to sailing, it can cause an outstanding balance and cruise cancellation. I have heard that before. Yes, indeed. Both the old and new apps are terrible with purchase pre-cruise. Best to always use the website, especially for Thermal Suite bookings. Use the website. What did I use? I think I used the app, but I paid for it. Yeah, I mean, I cleared it off. I didn't, book it and leave it. So I used the app on buying my Diet Cokes for both the Bliss cruises. Kenneth says, since you're the ambassador with Norwegian, we vote you to take care of these problems. We stand behind you. Kenneth, I am with you on that. I vote for Tom as well. Put that ambassador business to good work. He can take care of all of our problems on all 15 days of that cruise and 15 days or how many ever days it is coming back. I think that's a great idea, Kenneth. Hot Air Tom says, I will duck so certain things that I can't mention on the air go over his head. Emily's with us. Good morning, Em. Or Sonny down in Mississippi. Hey, Sonny. Sonny says hello to everybody. Tom is the NCL go-to. See there, Tom? Everybody agrees. Nate's in a loop. Yeah. It wasn't like that when I tested that last segment. I don't know. What I tried, folks, the last couple, I had that one horrible interview with Gretchen, and not the interview was not a problem. Gretchen's interview was wonderful, but the technical issues that I had were horrible. So I tried going a different route rather than sharing the whole screen and playing the whole thing start to finish, thinking I could break it down in segments. Well, that obviously hasn't worked out the way I wanted it to either. So, I don't know. I still haven't come up with the best way of doing interviews. Emily says, speaking of weather, it's snowing up there in New York. Good for you, Emily. It's we're supposed to have had another. I've not been looking outside today, But it was supposed to be within about 20 miles of us again last night, but none here. Kenneth says, when I was on the cruise with Tom, they treated Tom like he was owner of the cruise line. Yeah, I know. He does have a way, Kenneth, that maybe he throws his weight around enough that they think he's the owner. Sonny, send some of that weather up to Pennsylvania. It's snowing heavy here. Yeah. I talked to John last night up in Minnesota because Crookston, Minnesota was on my weather here. So I called John to give him a hard time about it. And yeah, I don't know, it's 40 inches or something. Yeah, ridiculous amount of snow up in Minnesota. Tom has been with NCL for years, yes? Tom will check out the new and bigger NCL ships. I don't know, Tom's like me. He likes the smaller ships. I meant Tom has been with NCL for years. Yes, I know. We understood that. Cindy says, I can't wait for that cruise on World America. Booked on World Europa in 2026 also. Looks like an amazing ship. Wish you guys could come on the April 26th sailing. Yeah, it's going to be a little hard because I'll be in New York on the 27th. So it'll be a little hard to get to Miami on the 26th when I don't get to Miami, New York until the 27th. Emily says, guys, I have to run with Mom for a bit. Have to feed Fiona and put a coat on her so she can run outside for a second. I gotta let Fiona stay warm. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay warm. Yes, we'll try. Kenneth and M, I wish I had some snow. We'll trade anytime. Yeah, Sonny, no, you don't. No. And if you didn't deal the trade it over Virginia. We don't want any stoppage of the snow in Virginia. You can take it down in Mississippi, Sonny. I got no problem whatsoever. Cindy says, for me to change to a later sailing, it's much pricier since you booked a. Oh yeah, no, I don't suggest that at all because I know when you booked it, you got a bargain. So, I wouldn't change that either, Cindy. We'll get together on another cruise soon. I guarantee on that. I wanted to talk to you about your recent sailing out of Tampa. I want to talk about the Margaritaville at Sea Islander. So we're going to have Cindy on one day here real soon to talk about the Islander. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. As always, thanks for being with me. Don't forget, please smash that thumbs up button. That'll help the channel out. And take this as my invitation to subscribe if you haven't already done so. It doesn't cost anything. And you can join us with some of this craziness 3 days a week now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then when something big happens, I will do special broadcasts. I'll also do some special broadcasts when I'm traveling. So keep that in mind as well. Again, no show on Christmas Day. I haven't taken a Christmas off in years. I haven't taken a New Year's Day off in years. A New Year's Eve off in years. And I'll be traveling this year on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So it's going to be the first time in a long time that I haven't worked. And I may do some lives on both days anyway. But there won't be any regular shows on Christmas Day or on New Year's Day. So maybe on New Year's. We'll we'll wait and see. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. As always, thanks for being here. Stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, whether it's on the World America or MSC or NCL or Margaritaville at sea. We'll get together on something. I guarantee you on that. Got to try them all. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you back here on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.